Hello, I'm your host, Zane Garrett, and this is my co-host, Asher Wallace, and thank you for being here, Asher.
Oh, thanks for having me very much.
Today, in this podcast, we're going to talk about 4 topics. First, we're going to talk about masks and the new COVID variant. Second, we're going to talk about how we feel or how we think the majority feels about the cell phone policy. Third, we're going to talk about if the student council is active enough, or how we feel and if we believe that their voice is being heard. And fourth, we're going to talk about the new dress code policy or the dress code policy. Okay, so I personally think that the mask mandate and the way that Lakeside has handled it has been very well, with all the direct questions and attacks from the parents and the school board and concerns that they've been dealing with. I think that the letting the people choose on whether or not they feel the need to wear a mask was the best way to go. And it also puts the let's go back to normal and let's beat this enemy and let's keep everyone safe. Very.
So, a question I have to ask for you is, if the cases get higher again, let's say above 2%, 3%, would you be interested in going back into a mask mandate just for a little while to see if the cases go back down, or how do you feel about that in general? With the new Omicron variant, I believe. Yeah, Omicron.
Well, with the new Omicron variant, there's only been 2 cases according to the New York Times in America. So I think it's just a minor concern at this point.
A minor, okay.
But it's definitely something that we should be ready and prepared for again. But as I've said, we've been dealing with this for 2 years now. It started in 2019. We know what our common enemy common enemy is, and we know really how to. I wouldn't say beat them, but we know the precautions to take to stop it at a drastic number. So I think if we had to repeat it, if they go up significantly, I would recommend and be on board with going back to the masks and hoping that goes back down. But until then, I just don't think that we really need to see it as much of a worldwide.
Well, now that we've talked about the masks, let's go on to our second topic, the cell phone policy. Do you have any questions or anything?
Okay, do you think that the cell phone policy we have now is sufficient enough, and do you think that it's needed?
Well, that's a good question. I think that the cell phone policy is good in some cases as it provides more socialization. You know, we've been out, most people have been out for 1 to 2 years of school, and it helps us get back to know each other. But for example, being able to listen to music in the hallways, or just needing to call your parents, because it's so much easier to walk out of class, make a 30-second phone call, and be back in class and get your work done than it is to walk 4 minutes all the way down the hall, hope your parents answer because of the number, talk to them on the phone, and then have to walk all the way back, wasting 8 to 10 minutes of something you could have spent a minute on. And it's just, I feel it's easier. And music, I personally like to listen to music. You know, have you ever listened to music and it just helps you study or focus?
That's a good point. But on a statistical average, how do you feel about the fact that the phones have made a depression percentage and an anxiety percentage go up drastically since they've been around?
Yeah.
And do you think that since we have no cell phone policy that people are starting mentally to be better, or do you think that they're still addicted to their phones and it's going to start a decline if we keep taking them away?
Well, here's the thing. You're able to use your phone outside of school. I like the cell phone policy, not being able to get on it during class, because you always have the annoying kid or someone who's on it while the teacher's trying to teach. But like I said, just simple things that make life easier would be better. I do agree with not being able to scroll through Instagram or watch YouTube in the middle of class, and it helps your grades. My grades have gone up since last year because I'm able to focus more on the work in general. I'm not wanting to go to my phone, because if I do, it's going to get taken away. So that's what I feel.
Okay, so one of the other policies that the student council, as we were just talking about, could actually infer or vote upon is the dress code policy.
Yes.
Yeah, the dress code. So how do you feel, or what are some things that you feel should be or shouldn't be allowed? And do you think we should be able to wear uniforms, as a school as a whole, to decrease anxiety, or what you're worried about and how you look? Or do you think that we should be able to still have our individual freedoms as not really freedoms, but as to wear what we want?
Okay, so first of all, I feel like the way you dress is kind of how people express themselves. It's how you show who you are to other people. But I think it would be neat if our school did have some sort of uniform that we could wear, sporting events or just something to show that you're Ram and you're proud of your school. That would be neat. Not really a policy, but just something that I would find neat. I do, however, have a problem with like not being able like to wear hats or sleeveless shirts because sometimes you have a bad hair day. You wake up, you don't have time. You're late for school, and you just want to throw on a hat, but you can't wear those indoors. It's temporary, but it just sometimes it helps. Helps you feel better. Sleeveless shirts, really more towards the summer. You walk in hot or something, you just want to wear a tank top or something, but you can't. But I do agree with part of it, just not that
fully.
Exact.
So
part.
you think that you should be able to wear hats and sleeveless shirts? And as far as sleeveless, like hats, I think are okay, but hoods are kind of due to the number of suspicious activity when it comes to schools. Hoods make sense. Do you really think that hats would be much better in that scenario, or?
Hats are just like what I said. First of all, you can express yourself with a hat. I feel when people are wearing the hoods, they're trying to hide. They sit lower. They have it all the way up. They're just trying to hide something, and that can be suspicious. But if you're just wearing a hat and a t-shirt and shorts, it's just wearing a hat. And same with, for example, females that dresses. They can't wear some of their favorite dresses because it only goes over their shoulder, and I just feel that they should be able to wear what they want, and we should be able to wear what we want. But I don't feel that like see-through clothing. That should be gone.
Yeah,
it should be appropriate to the point of expression, but not anything worse.
So you're saying like no sexual expression, more of a if since your dress is sleeveless, you're okay.
Yeah,
but
okay.
It has to cover like there.
Yeah.
Or I get what you're saying.
Like that's just how I feel, and I think it should be that way, or we should figure out a way to talk to someone about it because it's been like that for nearly forever, and I just feel that would be a neat thing.
So do you think statistically wise, should we wear a uniform on one hand to decrease those anxieties and things, or do you think that again, which one would be better as an alternative as a whole? Do you think that we should be able to wear really whatever we want, or do you think that our school should provide a uniform of some sort?
Well, here's the thing: you would either have to do one or the other. Because if you do a uniform, the people who are going to wear it are probably going to get made fun of. There's going to be bullying towards them, and from other people wearing just what they want. But but the uniform does help, and you would have to make it either mandatory or non-mandatory.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Do you think that in terms of statistics,
yeah.
do you think that we should wear a uniform, or do you think that we should just leave it as it is now when it comes to wearing a hooded, shorts, whatever?
Leave it as it is now.
Casual.
The part of the dress code policy is to prevent having to go into uniform. It's there to keep you in the rails.
To express yourself, but keep you enough to where it's not like vulgar.
It's not vulgar or sexual or anything in that stance.
All right, well, that's all the time we have for today. So thank you for listening. Again, I'm Zane Garrett.
I'm Wallace, and thank you.